Welcome to the Startempire Wire Founders Podcast, where we make entrepreneurial founders a top priority. Each episode features risk takers, business builders, community shapers, institutional and government supporters in our local startup ecosystem. Tune in weekly to hear all about what's happening with the movers and the shakers of Southern California's Inland Empire and beyond. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Founders Podcast. Today, we are with Robert Perhamus, who is the founder of UMakers Makerspace in Upland, California. You can check out his website at umakers.org. And today we're going to talk about his passion for the makerspace, how he got into it, and all of the above. But first, we're going to let Robert introduce himself. Robert, please introduce yourself, sir, to the audience. Who are you?
All right. My name is Rob Perhamus. I'm a retired guy. I'm a ceramic engineer, Peter Drucker MBA. And I wanted something to do in retirement.
Nice.
And I thought it was kind of fun to, let's say, teach a man to fish. And I had picked up on a worldwide trend of makerspaces, which continues to expand. And their community makerspace is a community place. You know, I'm retired. I've got 2 kids that they're killing it. I'll just say it like that. They're killing it. And I like Upland, where I'm at. And I thought, we don't have, you know, it's like, why not here?
Yeah.
We don't have an incubator. We don't have a place for people to give pitches where angel investors come to. We don't have a way of making, physical goods.
Yes.
Electronic devices, Internet of Things. See, from being around here, for the last 35 years or so, I always thought, mainly, maybe on preference for, the Claremont colleges, that it ought to be Silicon San Bernardino. I
love it. Silicon San Bernardino.
Right? What's this crap about Silicon,
Valley.
Silicon, whatever. Silicon Valley and Silicon Beach and this and that and all these startups happening every place else.
Right.
But not here, is it water bad or what? So anyway, yeah, I've been around here. The other things that are, it's in my retirement. Oh, that's about 5 minutes. In my retirement, it's very enjoyable. I find that people that make things, actually make things, they're just nice people.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true.
They could be PhDs. They could be 80 years old. They could be 20 years old. And they might start their Etsy store.
Yeah.
They might do a side hustle.
Yes.
They might invent something new. They might get a patent on something. They might, it's all over the place. How do you make just about anything? Yeah.
One of the things that I found about the maker community is that they're really giving, and I could tell you a little bit, or I could tell you some stories about like the programming or web development community, or maybe more in the Linux community.
Yeah.
You get you have a question and you get kind of ate up on the message boards. They'll be like, you should go find out yourself. But in the maker community, I found that people were a lot more giving, as she said, very friendly.
Yeah, and we
willing
are
to help.
If you just think about the root of what we do, we just share.
Just share. Yeah.
And so we share, and I kind of liked, although they say in some, pedagogy for teaching and stuff like that, they say use pedagogy. I always like andragogy.
Okay.
That means adult learning.
Adult learning.
That means you probably know a whole bunch of stuff that I don't know, because you're in a different world. You got different experiences and stuff.
Yes.
I could narrow it down a little bit into manufacturing. I did a lot of manufacturing.
Okay.
And I was too good at it.
Yeah.
Because what I do is I grow these places from 50 people to 300 people.
Nice.
And then of course all I did was cover the overhead, and then of course you become what's called a cash cow.
Yes.
And then next thing you know is mergers and acquisitions.
Right.
Right. Then you're the hero, and then they tell all the people that really made the money, see ya, and you lay them off.
Yeah, I know that's
close
tough.
the factory and send it to China.
Yeah, that's bad.
And then the other thing too is I'm an engineer, so maybe I'm cheap and lazy. That's how I define engineers.
That's what makes good engineers, though, right?
Well, they do say that because we say, we figure out how to make things more efficient or something like that.
That's what I've heard.
Make it easy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Or we, if it looks too tough, then we automate it.
Yes.
We put in a robot.
Yes. Yeah.
It's too hard for a person to do. A person can't lift all of that. Gee, let's get them a assist.
Yeah.
And things like that. So, that. And I'm very much a hyper localist because I found that, at least the smokestacks or manufacturing plants I work for, it's not like they moved anywhere close.
Yes. Yeah.
The other part of being cheap and lazy is I don't want to drive.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So you're close to home, right?
Oh yeah, I'm 3 miles from home.
I love it. Yeah.
I think I drive 3,000. Almost walkable.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so call me a tree hugger. I want walkable
great.
communities.
No, I think that's a good thing because if you have walkable communities, you're likely to have more connections and people who especially when you have a common place like a makerspace, that's pretty amazing as well. I have never been to UMakers, but I do plan on being there this week, which is the week of September the 19th when we're recording this, but this will probably publish within the next 2 weeks. So I would already have experience, the UMakers experience. I met you in person, Rob, and also had a chance to meet a few of your other residents as well.
Well, makerspaces are really weird. Okay.
Okay.
There's different kinds. Okay. I have a small one, and I like it that way. We have 40 members. My whole goal was not to have 1,000.
Okay.
My goal was to have 40. We got 40.
Nice.
And all it is it's enough to share the overhead.
Yes.
I know a lot of people think bigger is better. I don't think so.
Okay.
And even with that though, like I have 40 members, you can call it the 80-20 rule. Like, out of that, so what is that? Like 8 people come, maybe sometime.
Yes.
During the week.
Right.
They might typically come over 2 hours a week.
Okay. Yeah.
Something like that. So most of the time, and I used to try and study how they do this. I went to other makerspaces first. I called it the 5% rule. So the 5% rule says there's only 5% of the people there at any one time. So even if I had 100 people,
they're not all going to be there.
There'd only be 5 here at any one time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I only have 40, so there's only 2 people. So it might be that it's just you and me.
Yeah. No, well, I did meet with your other what's his name from
Zeph.
BM Maker, Zeph. I met with Zeph. He did the podcast, and so his podcast will likely publish a little bit before yours. But we plan to get together. I believe it's Thursday. I have to go look at my calendar again. So, but
you're gonna physically get together?
Physically, I'll be there physically at the space. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you should come by. I'm like, all right,
Did
cool.
he say come on over to Rob's?
Yeah, he did.
Good. I have a table here.
All right, cool. All right, so
I have a table, a coffee machine. I have drinks. I have a refrigerator, and I have all those things mainly because I like to make fun of WeWork.
Oh, WeWork, huh? They don't have any of that, huh?
No, WeWork was that.
Yeah, I remember it was was really big for a while.
Oh, that IPO thing.
Yeah.
And whatever Adam or whatever.
Adam,
I'm looking at it and looking at the pitch and all that kind of stuff. And what he'd do is he'd sucker people to, he'd go in, it was a real estate scam.
Yep, I remember. Yeah, it was all over. It was all over the tech blogs. And did you know recently he got funded again?
I know.
Well, that's a topic for another subject, though. But
I know.
yeah, let's go back to the UMakers Space, though.
Yeah, what's that guy's name who funded him? It's
I'm not sure. I can't remember right now, but
software is eating the world. That guy.
Oh, Mark Andreessen Horowitz. Okay, that was the one.
Andreessen Horowitz. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he's losing his mind too.
All right, so Rob, tell us what need does the makerspace meet? Like, when people come to the makerspace, what are they expecting to be able to do? Like, what type of things can they create? Especially at UMakers, when they come there, what are they being able to do?
What can they make? I don't know. I'll start with a laser. That's the most common. You're not a makerspace unless you have a laser. So.
Oh, that's right.
You can cut signs, ornaments, cloth, about 20 different materials.
Right.
You can start your Etsy store. You can start your handmade Amazon handmade store.
Oh, nice.
Shopify.
Nice.
And so some people do. Other people, it's more like just arts and crafts. I'll make something for my friend.
Yes. Yeah.
Family, stuff like that. It's just that I have, the equipment that's here is a lot more than let me say it, like most younger people, they don't have a garage because they don't have a house.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Garage to put the stuff in.
That's true.
I said laser, and then I have a CNC router. Okay, CNC router it's a machine where a router moves through, you program it and it moves in different shapes. So people make a baby name sign that goes over the top of a crib.
Okay.
It's 5 foot long, and they sell them for like $150.
Nice.
Online.
That's pretty cool. The Inland Empire startup ecosystem industry is tremendously fragmented. A few top-tier hubs, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, are well covered by media, events, and data platforms. Finding reliable information relevant to startups or the tech industry in the Inland Empire is extremely difficult. As a result, startups can't scale fast enough. Investors are having a hard time finding the right deals, and corporates can't find the right companies to partner with for their innovation activities. Startempire Wire, the leading Inland Empire startup publication, is providing the Inland Empire startup ecosystem with the most accurate, engaging business and financial data, events, and news. Our reach of entrepreneurs, C-level executives, angels, VC investors, startup employees, key management at innovative corporates, and big tech is the solution for your B2B or B2C needs. As we build out our platform, we're looking for partners. This is your opportunity to get in on the ground level. If you're looking to align yourself with the local and growing startup and tech ecosystem of the Inland Empire, we have created the platform to get your name noticed and the opportunity for you to grow the recognition of your brand. Contact us today for availability and pricing options. We look forward to our partnership with you. How long would it take somebody to create something like that baby name sign? Like, how long does it take for the CNC router to kind of route it all out? Plus the time it'll take for them to kind of program it.
Well, on programming it, if you go to my webpage and then you go to classes, over on the left-hand side, it shows the equipment. So you go to CNC router, then it has the software to use.
Okay.
And you can download the software.
Yes.
And we use vCarve. Okay. And then you put a code in there, because otherwise you got to pay like $700 for it.
Oh.
So we have the Makerspace edition.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of describes it in there. And so you put the code in there so you can get it for free, and then you can design. Now, how do you learn how to design stuff? Well, help.
Yeah. Well, most
software manufacturers do want you to know how to use their stuff, right?
That's right.
They have a YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Or you can tinker with it, so to speak.
Yes.
And do different things with it. So it's it's pretty easy.
Okay.
But I say it's easy. It might be it's easy for you, but
for someone who has a experience, it'll probably be easy. But if you don't have any experience, is the learning curve pretty high?
No, not for V curve. It's pretty low.
Pretty low.
Well, high and low. It depends.
Yes.
It's kind of like put it this way: you can do is 3D modeling. Is that difficult? I don't know. You can take a class from Zeph's kid.
Oh.
So
Zeph's kid. That's one of the people in the makerspace. Zeph teaches.
No, he's off on his own thing. He does have another building in the same complex here.
Okay.
And most of his attention is on he's got he's working on software, and he's got engineers and stuff working.
Okay.
He's trying to do pitches. He's trying to do a
right
type of thing.
Get some venture capital or something.
But
like
along
that,
with
right?
that, like I said, it's like his kids. His kids are doing the same thing.
And they know it, huh?
Yeah, so they're learning how to do it too.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And whether it's software or whatever, or maybe you could call his kids guinea pigs for it. Here, try this out, kid. Can you do this? Yeah, that's easy.
Yes. Do you guys have classes there? Do you guys have classes at the Makerspace?
I have, but when I mentioned before, WeWork, and those meetups, which you also mentioned.
The meetups, yep, the meetups.
Well,
here on meetup.com.
WeWork bought meetups.
Yes. Okay.
Meetups used to work.
I remember.
They used to work.
I remember. I still use it, but it's a little bit different, right?
All of a sudden, mysteriously, it still works, but only at WeWork locations.
Oh man. What you mean like the financial part of it where people go in and pay? Because right now I still use meetup.com for a few meetup groups. Yeah. I have like the WordPress meetup group, and then Startempire Wire has a meetup group as well. People see, the events you put out there.
Yes.
But which part of it, like I know the financial part, transactional, is pretty bad, huh?
Well, I don't use that, and all my classes are free anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
I use meetups, but it's kind of this is how bad it is. Okay, for me, I'd schedule a meetup, make a photo mug or something.
Yes, yeah.
And I get like 15 people that would sign up.
The audience. Okay.
And then nobody would show.
And
then just the opposite of that, it's like I would put something up and no one would sign up, and like 15 people would show up. It's like,
really?
What the hell?
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with meetup.com as well.
Yeah.
And I think early on, like probably 2012 to 2000.
Yes.
Probably 2012 to maybe 2019, 20. People were very active going to the meetups.
Absolutely.
As long as you schedule them. Now, actually, I think what affected the attendance that we're seeing coming to our groups is the lockdowns. That's what happened. I think a lot of people no longer leave the house as much. They want to do things over Zoom, virtually, and instead of come out and get together, they'd rather watch a video, which it defeats the whole purpose of meetup too.
On that too, and some of my other little ventures.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a social entrepreneur, right? I don't do this.
Yes.
So like, I don't like the cost of college.
Yes, right.
So
I agree.
I use the learning management system, Moodle.
Yes.
And I set up a college.
Nice.
And I made it free, open source kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
And I had 2,000 people sign up.
Okay.
It was all free. It's for giggles. Cost me $125 a year.
Right. Yes.
Well, Why? Because I can. But I found several things, actually.
Okay.
One is, and they have reports on this, people that sign up and then they drop.
Yeah.
Lose interest. It's like, so you'd start with like 15 people. By the time you get done, you'd have 2 hang out there. And they have these reports that show that MOOCs, they call them massive open online courses.
Yeah. Yep.
They have like 4% completion rate.
You
And
know,
I worry about these things because when they try and take little kids, and put them online,
oh, I get you.
for their
I get
classes
you.
and stuff,
Yeah.
are they learning anything?
Yeah.
Some do. Some I've heard some, they eat it up, but I'm not sure about overall.
I think there's like an option fatigue, like you get like this virtual fatigue and then you get this option fatigue. Like the virtual fatigue is okay, you're tired of learning things online. Then the option fatigue is like you have so many options of things you can do. Because when you're learning online, you've also got the browser right there. You got YouTube, you got a billion other little things that may not even be in the same category that's competing for your attention. So you really got to get focused, or you got to have someone to help facilitate that focus, short periods of time to get things done. But are you saying that your courses are online though?
Well, no. Well, what I do is I curate.
Curate.
So it's just a Google page.
Okay.
And it says here,
Okay.
laser, and it shows you what kind I got. What you can do. Don't cut this stuff. Don't.
Okay.
So I got like that, and then for each one of the how to make a T-shirt, how to do this or that.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, because there's a lot of resources already online that you just kind of.
And if it wasn't there yesterday, it'll be there today.
Right. Okay. That's pretty cool.
It does. Actually, that's what a lot of teachers do now.
Yeah, they just curate. I'm gonna be honest. I went to college, got a big old loan out for college.
Yeah.
And I had my teachers one specific class, I won't even mention it. All the teacher did was point, here, go read this, read this. And I'm like, you're not even teaching. So really what happened was I read all the materials, learned everything.
Right.
And I began to ask the teacher questions. And the teacher couldn't answer. I'm like, oh, come on,
You know what? I had noticed that too, even while I was teaching. I mean, I used to teach new product development.
Yes.
And I won't say where.
Yeah.
I would go down there and teach new product development. And at the school, I mean, everybody knows the international students pay a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's their money.
Right.
Money makers, more than local people. So I would go down there, but I'll tell you what, I got these, 25, 30-year-old European kids.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, Mr. P, where's the shop class? A few other, where's, I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed. All I got is PowerPoint.
Okay.
How are we supposed to, so it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
In some schools. The other things I noticed too were that, I'm an engineer and an MBA, and I have the almost typical alphabet soup of initials after my name. Certified project manager, Lean Six Sigma.
Oh, yeah.
This and that,
right.
And all those things. But while I'm teaching, I found out very clearly that many of the teachers there would teach a class in project management who had never managed a project. And what they did was they read the book, they got the textbook, and when you get the textbook, it even gives you the quizzes.
Yes.
Okay. It gives you the quizzes. So I would tell people, I actually made an Android app. I made an Android app called Socratic Questions.
Ooh.
So I said, I dare you guys to try this in some of your other classes. Why do you ask that question? I said, here, try this one. Ask something that's like in chapter 4 when you're on chapter 3. Okay. And see if the professor says, that we'll cover that next week.
Yeah,
So I have
right,
no
right,
idea. I
right.
have no idea.
Do we know the materials? No, that's wow.
Mine is a little bit, a lot different. I went to the Drucker School. He's the founder of management.
Drucker School.
He's the only guy that I know of that around here that has, they said, come out here, Peter, start this program. We'll put your name on the building. How's that? So I don't think they have that at Cal State San Bernardino. Maybe they do.
Right.
Or UCR or anything.
Or UCR. Yeah.
And then I'm cheap and I'm lazy, and it's only 3 miles from my house. So.
Right.
And I had followed his difference. The Drucker difference is really, it's okay to be a capitalist pig, make a lot of money, but not too much. Because you got to take care of your people.
Because you got to take care of your
community. You got to look at the overall impact.
Right.
And that was kind of a common theme. And he would say outrageous things. The cost of college and healthcare it's totally out of whack. He says it can't. It's a death sentence if you don't get a degree. But
this was Peter Drucker.
This is Peter Drucker talking.
Okay.
Yeah, he passed away in 2005. And,
I've only read a few of his books. Yeah.
I think I read at least 20.
Okay.
And I still have to go back and kind of review some things.
Right.
Because some have been written, like, even, after he's gone, like a couple of years later. People write books.
From like his speeches, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, just their interpretation of, what he was saying and stuff. And
yes.
He would say universities are in 20 or 30 years. He would say, look, this internet thing is coming. Okay. And it's not done yet. Okay. He'd say, and in his classes, most people, I didn't like lectures.
Right.
Okay. Stage on the stage, except for him. He's the only one that's ever really deserved that, I think.
Okay.
They use the PowerPoints and the overheads and all that stuff. He would sit in a chair and just talk.
Okay.
And and his style was, first place, he had a deep Austrian accent, and only about half the people could understand him.
Okay.
And then the other thing is, on these lectures, it's like people are falling asleep, and this about half the class. The other half of the class, because he'd go for like an hour and a half, and I was on the other side. I was listening to him.
Yes.
And so I kind of like sit there for an hour and a half, which is longer than my normal attention span,
Yeah.
And then in about an hour and a half, he would say this, and I go, holy shit, the meaning of life.
As long as you kind of stuck with the point.
He would say some things. He'd say funny things as far as I'm concerned, too. I'm not a consultant. I'm an insultant.
Right.
And let's see. So he talks about the cost of higher ed and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in class, even, sitting in a class. And he says, yeah, the cost of education is way too high. So I'm looking over at my other classmates, Hey,
right.
Is he talking about us? We paying too much for this shit?
Yeah.
So,
now I'm gonna go back and listen to some Peter Drucker now. Can you tell us?
I'm also a library here too.
You say you're a library?
I'm a library. Yeah.
You got plenty of it there at the space, huh?
Yeah, I have at least 3, and I can also share with you my what do you call it? My Kindle.
Okay.
Right? You can take some of your books
and lend them on Kindle.
Lend them to other people.
I didn't even know that functionality was available in Kindle. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Tell us about the growth of Umakers. You started it. You started it in which year? And then now in 2020.
It was about I started in 6 years ago, about
6 years. Okay.
And I was in a smaller place, same complex here, but I was in. No, actually, I started in a garage. I'm a garage startup.
Okay, so you started in the garage.
It was at my house, and I bought a laser.
Yes.
And I had it in my garage, but nobody came.
Oh.
So then I moved over to a place, about 1,000 square feet, and I was there for a couple of years, and it was hot and low ceilings and stuff. And some things I shouldn't have in the same room, like a dusty CNC router and an electronics bench.
Right.
So we kind of thought, and there's this other guy, Chip, who's now moved on 3 months ago or so, something. He moved to Las Vegas, and he's part of a makerspace up there.
Okay.
So we kind of thought that where do these places, and I did this map, my own little map, and it came from Washington Post. Yeah, and I kind of did some overlays on where do these places work and where don't they? And they had something on the Washington Post that showed education and incomes. And it's like bright if they have a lot of education, and they have pretty good incomes that go with it. You know? And so it's like bright yellow or something like that. I don't want to sound bad about this, but if you go down to Holt in Ontario, it's kind of like all dark blue.
Okay.
Not a lot of people with degrees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people with $100,000 income. But if you come over to Claremont, PhDs and PhDs, they got the education and they got the money. So I wanted to be really close to Claremont.
Wow. So the demographics were laid out on this map, and that's how you planned out your space.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And you're gonna edit this if necessary, right? Because I think I swore a few times. So the other thing, I don't know if you know about this.
We don't edit out swear words as much, but it's okay.
You might reconsider on this one though. So one of the things about Claremont, which makes it a really nice place, but I don't know how many. It's like some of the old timers there, they kind of recognize it. It's like 50% white and 20% crazy rich Asians.
Okay.
And they're the international students,
Yes.
A lot of them. Like you just walk around the town and you'll see them. And not everybody's wealthy, of course. But right. I mean, if you can fly in, and if some of you are not scholarshipped or whatever, and you can pay $250,000 for an education, they're crazy rich.
Okay. So let me ask you, what were some of the growing pains after you started the makerspace? Just give me like maybe your top growing pain that you've experienced as you've sought to continue to make it successful.
We grew once we got over here. I think one time we hit 48 members. In pandemic we suffered. We went down to about 30.
Okay.
We went back up to 40. Like I say, 40 is good. 40 is
right.
Good. But there's always people that come and always people that go, and it's really a brain drain.
Really?
Yeah. It's like the smart ones. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to Silicon Valley. I'm going to go to Silicon Beach, stuff like that. So they kind of move out. So it's what do they call that? Attrition.
Attrition. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have attrition. So I think I don't know what the number is. I've probably had 250 members. 200, maybe 300. But I only have 40 right now.
So
it is kind of amazing, though. It gets into like a, what do they call it? Stability. So, and it used to be really uncanny.
Okay.
Like they'd have a certain number. One person would quit, and like the next day, 2 people would show up. Get memberships.
That's great. That's actually really good.
And that's kind of how we grew. One would quit, 2 would join. One would quit, 2 would join. That's how we grew from the earlier days of 20,
right,
up to 40. When I did get the bigger place, the break-even point, of course, is bigger.
Okay. Okay.
It's more like 3,000, and the little place over there was like 1,500. Yeah, about 2,000.
Okay.
So there's about 2,000 over there. It's about 3,000
over here. Okay.
That's not just the rent; that's the utilities and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. What about the current needs? Like, where what are some of the most pressing needs for Umakers space?
More nice people.
more people, more nice people.
More nice people that want to have fun.
Okay.
Well, they want to, people come here so they can make some money, save some money, or it just feels good to make stuff because a lot of people don't anymore,
Yeah.
And an example of that might be, and we were talking about doing Zoom meetings. I'm actually looking for a pharmaceutical company that makes a drug for ocular migraines.
Really? Okay.
How the hell can anybody sit there for 8 hours a day and stare at a goddamn screen in Zoom meetings?
That's a tough thing.
I'm kind of, I've always been, I've when you work in manufacturing, and I most enjoyed, I didn't want to be the top guy there.
Right.
I'm a blue collar guy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I like hanging out with the nice people.
Right. No, I get you. I get you.
They're just nicer people.
Yeah.
Right.
No. Right.
People. And I didn't want to sit in the office and read the Wall Street Journal, whatever else they do.
Man, I'm going to tell you, like sitting in front of the computer all day, yes. Man, it is tough. Yeah. It's very tough. And as you mentioned, ocular migraines, I thankfully I don't get them. But I'm a web developer, so I'm always in front of the computer. And, it's just good to get people out from behind that computer and together, right? So like that's one of the things that I see about like spaces like yours. I'm like, okay, this is a great place for people to come together, and work with their hands.
I guess some people can do this. I've talked to them. It's okay. You know what I mean when I say the word flow?
Flow, like a flow state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Flow state.
Mahali, the guy that wrote that book, he was one of my professors too.
Really nice.
Yeah, and he passed away too. So the whole thing. It's like you're a painter and you fall to the ground after 3 days. All that kind of so I find that some people that make things, they get high.
I think it's the creativity of it, probably, right?
The other thing is, remember that thing, Maslow's hierarchy?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, yes.
And I thought everybody wants to get up into that self-actualization peak.
Right.
You're supposed to get, right?
Right. Once they get the other needs met, right?
Yeah. Take care of the food, relationships, that kind of stuff. You want to get to that. And that is creativity. That's what creativity. That's what's in there. So it's like,
that's right.
This is not a want. This is a need.
It's a need.
But, as I walk around, and I think of other people drive down the road or whatever, I think of, whatever kind of job they get. They're a nurse in a hospital. Oh, changing bed pans. Now that's creative. Even a doctor, a lawyer. 90% of jobs, they could pay a lot of money or like no money.
Right.
Very little. But they just don't have that. And I thought, wait, that's a human need. And
but you know what? I think they do. Honestly, I think people have that need. I think that they're afraid. I talked to a girl last night who, I was on went out for drinks, and she's an MRI technician or something like that. She wants to do her own thing.
Yes.
Right? And she wants to become like a seamstress, like a person who creates garments, but she doesn't make the move. Why? Fear. Because you got the bills, you got the stuff that needs to be taken care of, and she doesn't make the move. So I think fear drives a lot of people.
I know that well.
Yeah.
And I think that might be.
That's that bottom need below creativity. That's one of those basic needs in Maslow's, right?
I think that might be parenting.
Parenting. Okay.
I was always with my kids. What's the worst that can happen? And a lot of other people will say, no, if you drop something on the floor,
Yeah.
But there's some
5 second rule. 5 second rule.
You drop an egg on the floor, and some people see that, some people say, oh, clean that up. And other people see a little kid get down in there and with a stick and start swirling it around. Say, they're going to create a cure for cancer. they're interested in biology. You know?
It's an unconventional response that's not just reactionary.
Yeah, they got YouTube video. They got TED Talks up on this. I don't make this shit up.
No, that is really good. No, I like the way you put that, because it's kind of that nurture thing. You know, how have you been nurtured? And then why are some people just satisfied without creating? Because everyone's creative. Like we were all artists when we were kids, you know? And
the most famous TED Talk of all times, I think, is Sir Ken Robinson.
Oh, yes. I love it. Yes. The Ken Robinson Talk. Yep. And what's the title of it? I can't even remember. It's
he's got a couple of them.
It's about like collaborative creativity or something like that, right?
No, he talks about basically, and there's another one too. The first one's really funny. The second one's more like this longitudinal study that he did.
Yes.
A 20-year study, and he says, you give kids paper clips.
Yes.
And you say, how many things can you make out of it? And there's
right.
Fourth grade, they can make hundreds. By the time they're done with college, they kind of get indignant, like it's a paper clip.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So he talks about the whole, you got to diverge and diverge and then converge, but you got to diverge. So a lot of us don't diverge. We don't look at all the possibilities first. That's
true. Yeah, I know that is so true.
Oh, by the way, you said you took a girl out for a drink.
Yeah, just.
So you could also turn this into a make and take a date night.
That's true. That's a good idea.
This is a slider wine box.
Oh, what is that? Oh, that's a wine box? Okay.
You put a bottle of wine in there, right?
Nice. Yeah.
And it's cut out. So this is cut on the CNC router.
Oh, that's very cool.
That's laser engraved on there, and then you take a little piece of string and you put it in there.
Wow.
And then you can put a message on there or whatever. And the ones I've had in the past, I call it a make and take a date night. Bring your own wine. Because I figure you're old enough to have a glass of wine. You're not going to get shit-faced and hurt yourself.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I'm a very responsible drinker too.
but what that does too, I think, in some cases, a lot of people think of manufacturing.
Yes.
Dangerous.
Right.
It's scary. I can't do that. I can't. Oh.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
It ain't that bad. I have so much fun here. I'm sorry. I call when people come over. I call it a play date.
Yeah.
And really, it is. A lot of this is when I was a kid. You want to share your toys?
That's right.
Right. I still share my toys. You know, and some kids will share and other kids won't. I just found the kids that would share their toys were cooler kids to hang out with.
Right. Yeah. So, Rob, tell us about the short-term goals of Umakerspace. The next 2 months. What are 2 top goals you're trying to get accomplished with Umakers in the next 2 months? Top 2
months. Just maintain 40 people.
Maintain the 40 people.
Yeah. 40 could be, 40 plus or minus 3, 4.
Okay. That's one goal. What's the second one?
That's it.
No 2? No other one?
Well, no, I mean, I never know when they're going to walk in. Right?
Yes.
But I've got all kinds of success stories.
Okay.
I just never, it's not like I have a goal where I say, okay, I'd like somebody to walk in here. And then 2 months from now, I'd like them to quit their day job and make $400,000 a year. That's not how it works,
But what can you think of that you're just trying to shoot for in the next 2 months? Just one, something else that you want to happen.
I think a very, very early stage, somebody who realizes, just one would be great. Somebody who realizes how fun it is to make things.
Yes.
I gotta kind of tell you why I say just one in 2 months would be great.
Okay.
I'm doing this for demographic reasons and other things too. Baby boomers. We used to work till we're 65 and kick the bucket when we're 67. Now we live to 80 plus or minus 15. So I could be around till I'm 95.
Yeah.
Now, a long time ago, both my kids are killing it. A long time ago, I had this kid who was down and out. I worked in a factory in Pomona, and he was 18 years old. And he came to me, and he said, came to my office, and he says, Rob, life's been kind of tough. And I said, what do you mean? He says, oh, my father was a drunk and would beat me, so I became homeless when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, so, I haven't been to school or anything like that. And it's really embarrassing, Rob. I won't tell you what happens to homeless 13-year-old boys.
Mm.
You know that, right? Maybe you heard the horror stories.
Yeah, I could assume,
drugs and prostitution and every other horrible thing you can think of. Mm-hmm. So anyway, what I did was I bought him a GED book, and I had 3 maintenance guys. I went down there. I said, will you help Tony during lunch, get his GED?
Yeah.
Well, I forgot all about the guy in like 15 years. That's relevant. 15 years later.
Wow.
I get this phone call. Guy says, hey, Rob, this is Tony. I said, Tony who? Tells me. I said, oh, okay. What's up, Tony? He says, I got my GED.
That's awesome.
He says, I married a school teacher.
Nice.
We moved to Indiana. I started a company.
Wow.
I have 300 people at road paint, road signs.
Yeah.
Stop signs. He says, I got 300 people working for me now. And then he said, thanks.
That's so cool.
And it made me cry.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
And so part of this, I said 15 years. Somebody walks in the door today, and 15 years from now, they make me cry.
Mm.
They give me that call. This isn't something I can say, you better call me back.
No, you can't.
Better call me in 10 or 15 years.
Right.
No,
it has to be done willingly.
It's got to be done willing. So, some people keep score by how much money they make or whatever, and I just keep score by how many times I cry.
That's good. That's a good way to keep score.
and I could have like 30 years. I could live to 95, 80 plus or minus 15. Shit, I could go to 95. I could have 30 years of crying.
Well, we wish you the happy, long life. Now we're going to talk a little bit about those long-term goals, because we haven't touched those. And
that's long-term. I just told you.
Well, here we go. We're going to be specific, though. We're going to say 3 years, okay?
Yeah.
And then we're going to say 5 years, and then we're going to say 10 years.
Okay.
Try to be specific. What do you want? What do you want for Makerspace? 3 years.
Not 3. Let's go the other way around. 10 years.
Okay, you can start at 10. That's fine.
Okay.
10, 5, 3.
I'd like a wet lab.
Okay.
A space and a wet lab. I'd like to make pharmaceuticals.
Okay.
An open source pharmaceutical lab. Hoods and all that.
Yeah.
Biology lab, wet lab. Biology.
Wet lab. So
right.
Wow, that's a big move. So 10 years you want to get the wet lab going.
Maybe. But quite honestly,
that's not that big of a move.
The goals, like I say, growth goals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good right now.
Yeah.
So my 10-year goal.
Yeah, but we're definitely trying to be specific here. So 10 years wet lab.
My 10-year goal, I hope to have 40 members.
Okay. In 10 years.
What's that?
In 10 years, you still want to be at 40 members, or you want more?
I'm fine with that.
Okay, in 10 years. Okay.
See, it's kind of like this, though. A lot of people do think, we all think that way, in growth, We all say, oh, let's do an IPO and become a billionaire, a billion, let's become Apple, let's become Google, let's do all that kind of stuff. But I'm really happy. Just
okay. No, that's good. No, that's what you want for your venture. That's exactly. Yeah. So 40 members.
I really,
lab,
there's other kinds of, what's really cool,
mm-hmm.
I think, on economic growth. Let's say.
Yes.
Oh, let me give you an example. She's not ours, but the lady next door.
Mm-hmm.
She sells soap and candles.
Yes.
Okay. She started in her garage at home.
Mm-hmm.
she pays the same $3,000 over here a month.
Yeah.
Okay? And she hired one person.
Okay.
That is real entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So she's been over here and she sells online and all this shit and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people forget, what made us really cool in the United States is the ability to hire just one.
Yeah.
Not 1,000,
Yes.
not 1,000, not 100,000. But it starts, doesn't matter who it is. Ford was started with one.
Okay.
General Motors started with one. Toyota started with one.
No, yeah, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
And one, and then they hire one, and they do that. And I think in particular for the Inland Empire, that's kind of what we need more of. We need more of those one single thing. And we do have the opportunity, I think, mainly because, and I'll just say because of population growth.
Yeah, yeah.
We have cheap land, relatively cheap land. Unfortunately, that also means cheap labor, which I don't like. So you go to Fontana, you got all this land. I mean, every company they're looking to locate, and say, hey, let's go to where we can get cheap labor and cheap land. Well, and I'd rather have, that's not for me.
So yeah, you're very clear on your goal in 10 years being the wet lab, 40 members. What about 5 years?
Let's see, what else do they have at Makerspaces? Wet lab that.
In 5 years.
I don't know. I think whatever. I don't really like a lot of metal things.
Okay.
But it's good to have more tools.
More tools.
I have a few. I have a bandsaw.
Availability.
I have a few, and a little bit of welding, but it's more like little tack welding.
Like spot welding. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a little spot welding thing, touch-up thing. Sheet metal bender and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I should probably have like a plasma cutter.
Oh.
Or where you can cut, or a water jet.
A water jet. Okay. So,
but even on those things, there's you look around enough, and there's like an open source water jet, and it costs about $2,000. Or you can buy one that costs about $8,000 now. The Wazer.
Yeah.
It looks like one of them little lasers like this, And,
Okay.
you can cut glass and aluminum.
Wow.
But they have one that's open source that I found, and this guy just shows you how you can make one with a pressure washer.
I love it, man. I'm amazed at open source technology that's out there. I would have never thought that would be open source as well.
Yeah, I think the big one that kind of shocked me was, and a lot of people, was the pharmaceuticals.
Open source?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So these guys are crazy.
Yeah.
We spent billions on keeping this stuff secret.
Wow.
And then they're just letting you and I walk in there. There's one that's I think it's over in Pasadena that does farm. I think they include pharmaceuticals.
You
but
mean
again,
the wet lab is? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They want like, they want to charge. They don't want to charge $75 a month. They want to charge like $1,000 a month or so.
Oh, okay.
They want 4 or 5 people from a company to go in there and get space and stuff like that.
Ah, okay. They're bringing people into their wet lab. I know Murrieta is working on a wet lab, I believe, and I know UCR has a wet lab as well. Those things are high price. The equipment for a wet lab is pretty high price, from what I understand.
One of our members,
is
the manager for the wet lab at UCR.
Oh, very cool.
He's a sophomore there.
That's cool. That's very cool.
His name's Dev, and actually, Dev, you've already met
Zeph. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zeph sent him over to me.
Yes.
And he came here, and he tinker with stuff and learn how to make things. He'd fix 3D printers and shit like that.
Yeah.
And but he was interested in like biology,
The biotech stuff, huh?
biotech shit, right?
Yeah.
And so his story is, he came over, and his parents didn't want him being here.
Mm.
You should be studying and stuff like that. So anyway, he came over here and he was making stuff, and then UCR has a biohackathon.
When was that?
A year ago.
A year ago? Okay.
Maybe a year, could be a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So they have a biohackathon, and so he came here to do it. He and this other guy, Kevin Ho.
Yes. Kevin who?
Kevin Ho.
Kevin Ho. Okay.
Kevin Ho.
I've never met him.
I know. Well, he's like, I think he's a junior now.
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, so he came over here and they won.
They won.
They won.
That's cool.
So he went down there and he told me there was a job opening on campus for a lab manager.
Okay.
And the first question they had for him was, do you know what a Phillips screwdriver is? And he said,
at a wet lab.
And then they said, have you ever made anything? And he said, yeah. And he showed them the device that he made here for his hackathon.
That's cool.
And they said, well, you got the job. So you're the manager. Now hire some other funky technicians to help you with the wet lab.
That's great. So coming to your space actually helped him get the job too.
Yeah.
That's great.
Miyuki came here. She went to Berkeley and then she got her first job at Chapman University.
Okay.
Her job is to open a makerspace. She's the makerspace manager.
That's cool. Okay.
Pretty similar kind of a thing. She made a CNC router here, desktop one.
Yes.
She made a 3D printer.
Yes.
And when she interviewed, they said, have you ever made anything?
Yes.
She showed them her stuff, and which, by the way, that's what Elon Musk says too, right?
Show me your work. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
I
think no, that is such a true thing, Rob, because in the maker, realm and in the coding realm and in the athletic realm, or all of these are things about what you can do, not a degree that you've earned. You have to be able to do something.
Right.
That's cool.
Show me how you've used that.
Yeah.
Show me.
Yeah, I mean, like, even when I'm hiring, because I hire web developers for my agency. When I'm hiring a web developer, I don't care what their resume says. I just want to see, can you do the work? What's your portfolio look like? What have you done before? That's all I'm looking for.
I've come to understand too that some people, and they've been here, and that's how I get my info. They say that a lot of employers say, no degree required even.
That's good, yeah. Well, I think Google, SpaceX, and some of these big name companies, they made some announcement like a year or two back saying they no longer required certain levels of degrees. I have to find the article, but I think I can remember them saying that.
One of my former members stopped in the other day to give me a couple $100 worth of acrylic.
Okay.
So he was a school teacher over in Glendora.
Mm-hmm.
And, what do you call it, like a temp teacher or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And so he says, I can't make any money doing this. So he went to work for Amazon.
Yeah.
And then, so I know that he went down to Amazon. He was trying to create some new things, game or something.
Okay.
But he stopped back in, and I said, ooh, and he dropped off his stuff. And I said, you don't want to make these things anymore? And he says, no, he says, I just got done with my Google certification of some kind.
Oh, wow.
And I said, how was that? And he says, well, it's pretty cool because they paid me $2,100 a month to learn how to do this stuff.
That's great.
And he said, so what kind of job will you get? He says, just about a guaranteed job. He says, I'm not quite sure. He says, I hope it's cool, like robotics or something.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure where it's going to be.
That's cool. That's cool.
But he says, shit, they paid me $2,100. It was a 9-month program.
Yeah, to get paid to go through the program is great as well, too. Yeah.
So that's like breaking the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like you go to UCR, you say, how much you want to pay me to go to school here?
Yep.
That's
All right, Rob.
Yeah.
We hit this last one. 3 years. Where do you want to be in 3 years? Umakers.
Somewhere's in between 1 and 3 years, 1 and 5 years.
3 years. Can you tell me? Just say it. Specifically, like you're gonna have some type of new tools. What would that be? Just maintain.
A button maker.
A button maker. Okay.
I learned. No, this is why I learned this. You know, there's other makerspaces around here, right?
Okay.
Mount Sac and over at the colleges here. They have this place over there, and there's one. There's a third one, Ontario Library.
Okay.
And,
yes.
But with all three of them, I saw them post messages. We're out of buttons.
Are you serious?
I talked to a girl over there and I said, what the hell's with it? How come everybody's making buttons? And she says, it's easy. You can make one in about a minute, right? Yeah. And these people have never made anything. It's like, oh, look what I made.
Wow.
So look at me. I made something. You know, I'm 40 years old. I made something.
You can't knock the effort, right? But all right, so button maker. Well, that's final answer, right?
I actually have one here. I do have one. You know.
Okay.
But mine's like a hand kind, and you get a lever like this, $75 or something.
Oh, okay. Well, Rob, this is going out to our audience of about 5,000 people, so I really appreciate you for being on here. I just want to keep it on track. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate you being on. Where can people find you?
They can find
online,
me
offline. Yes.
They can find me on my webpage, umakers.org. They can drive by. They can come over to 1326 Monte Vista Avenue, number 3. Yes. In Upland. That's the address. They can call me, 909-234-3369. Awesome. I'm here. This is another Drucker thing. I'm a monomaniac on a mission.
Awesome.
So
yeah.
I do that. I volunteer to teach 84 hours a week. Wow.
Awesome.
Do what you love what you do, make your vocation your vacation.
And if a person has never been to a makerspace, what do you recommend? How do you recommend they prepare? Do you want them just come in?
Don't wear sandals.
Don't wear sandals. I love it.
Don't wear open toes.
No open toes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to drop a hammer on it.
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning into the Founders Podcast. Rob, I just want to thank you again for being on this episode. We publish this podcast twice per week, once on Tuesday, once on Thursday. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not subscribed to the channel, to the YouTube channel, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Make sure you click on the bell, like the video, and share it with about 2 or 3 people. Once again, thank you for tuning into the Founders Podcast, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Yeah. Bye.